Hello and welcome to the RZNGMEN show, and I'm your host, Craig Carlisle. Man, I love doing these shows. These are great days, so thank you all for tuning in and catching us wherever you may catch us across the airways or on the podcast, on iTunes or Google Play Store. Just so glad that you're all tuning in. Today's topic is baggage claim. And I know many of us have traveled before, and I used to do a lot of traveling in my days, whether it be for a Fortune 500 company or whether it be for producing the film and screening the film. You know, when you travel, a lot of us have a tendency to overpack. When I was first, new traveling across the country and across the world, I used to take everything that I could possibly think of and some other things that I couldn't think of to take with me just to have in my bag. And it wound up being really, really difficult to carry and lug through the airport and trying to move through the crowds of people that go through security checks and even in and out of cabs and hotels and motels and up and down stairs and elevators. And I wound up, bumping into people or people bumping into me and kind of catching it on corners and going into bathrooms. And you're always trying to make sure you're watching where's your stuff, or you're going to the restroom, or you're just, getting in a car and you want to turn around for a second and you just don't want anybody to take your stuff. But by the time the trip is over, I know for me, I find that I didn't even wear a good portion of the stuff that I brought with me. It wound up just being excess baggage, excess stuff I had to carry around. And for those of you who travel a lot and, fly specifically, there's a weight cost. You pay for bags, a standard rate for your bag weighing 50 pounds or less. Anything over 50 pounds, they charge you sometimes an extra, 25, 35, 50 bucks and $100 depending on how much it weighs. When you really equate what you've just paid for, did you really have to take that stuff? I mean, did I need the extra 2, 3, 4 pair of shoes and extra pair of jeans and the just in case this might happen? Or what if it's cold? And what if I do this? And most of us don't do anything that we really plan to do outside of our trip except for the normal plans of going from here to there. I mean, unless you're going to a special event where you wore your special event clothing, or if you were going to participate in a special function, you wore the special function clothes and you wore the special function shoes for you ladies who happen to have that special shoe that you just had to wear with just that special outfit. If you had to be just coordinated ever so much, how much of the stuff do we actually wear that was beyond what the appointed outfit was? For me, I'm an easy traveler. I've learned that after having had to carry so much garbage from place to place that I didn't end up wearing, I started recycling stuff and just wearing the bare minimums. And if my jeans were just as fine as they were when I left, hey, we wore those again. And I have when I travel, I have a special pair of sweatpants I like to travel in because they're comfortable. I can get in and out of places. I can get in and out of security check. I don't have to worry about the metal detector detecting anything abnormal with these. I don't have to wear a belt. I can just get in and out of places. When you think about your life and how we are when we travel and the things that we carry with us moment by moment, day to day, place to place, what's in those bags that we're carrying? If you think about that as being, you equate that big, large 50 or 60 pound suitcase, or maybe even that travel bag, and the backpack and the special snack bag, and for those ladies out there who are carrying that purse and with that extra purse inside, what's really in the stuff that we're carrying? If you equate it to your life, some of us are carrying weights and fears and sadness from our childhood, carrying stuff in our bags that don't really belong to us, that aren't a part of our original design. We're carrying sadness for the love that we didn't get from parents, siblings, friends, loved ones. Some of us are carrying the hurt from a lost loved one, from a lost child, from a lost friend, from a relationship that just didn't go the way you wanted it. So when those losses occur, some of us start carrying around extra stuff that we think is the reason why that person left us, or why that person doesn't love us, or carrying those things with us because we heard someone say something about us that they should have said to our face, but they decided to tell somebody else. In some cases, very recently in my life, some folks thought I was asleep and shared some stuff about me. Very hurtful. When that happens to us, it winds up being stuff in our bags that we carry around like weights and bricks and boulders that just, it holds us down. It's like an anchor holds a ship in place. A ship is supposed to follow along the water, going towards its destination, being kept up by the water only. But the anchor holds and drags across the bottom, and it's like that bag. It drags along, and it keeps us from going as fast as we should go, which sometimes makes us tired because we're carrying this extra stuff with us that don't apply to us. It's not a part of our original design. That's not who we are that's in those bags. At least it shouldn't be. Are we equating what our false identity is, as we're learning in our Freedom Prayer class led by Ann Hansen at Centerpoint Church? She's taken us through this great, wonderful course. If you've never taken the Freedom Prayer class, and if you're on the West Coast, again, this is a shameless plug for our Freedom Prayer and Freedom Prayer class at Centerpoint Church. Man, it's awesome. We spent a lot of time last week or so going over who we are, who is our true identity in Christ, and we were asked to fill out a survey talking about first our true identity. Who does God say we are? And I know for me, when I was filling out that sheet, it was a very difficult sheet to fill out because I had become so accustomed to the negative things that people were saying about me, or I thought people were saying about me, or that I associated with myself, because people don't respond to me the way that I would want them to respond now. And people don't always know what to say to me now that my wife's gone. Again, you're listening to Craig Carlisle, and then this is the RZNGMEN show. And the RZNGMEN show is an opportunity for men to become better men, fathers, family members, leaders, and role models. But again, we're not going to spend a lot of time delving into the grief side of the RZNGMEN show, because that's not the topic today. But you have to, when you go through the whole baggage claim and you start opening up your luggage, you start looking at the things that are in your bag, you have to assess where you are and what made you who you are, and what has drug you down, what slows your progress. And so I have to really look at what slowed my progress. The death of my wife slowed my progress. People all of a sudden forgetting that I still speak English. People forgetting, most importantly, that I still hear and understand English. I still understand how to read a text message. I still understand what it is to hear my name called, and I still understand the situation that's talking about me and where I live and how I live. I still hear, I still understand who I am. Even before my wife died, struggles and perils in our marriage brought me down, slowed me down. Choices I made as an occupation, how long to have stayed there, how long not to have stayed there, when to follow God and when not to follow God, that slowed me down. What was a part of what had I associated with my false identity then was that I was a failure, that I associated the fact that they don't love me, that I wasn't good enough, I wasn't lovable, I obviously wasn't doing the things that people would find wonderful and attractive to make me a better person, otherwise they wouldn't continue to treat me this way. So there must be something wrong with me. But you know what? All of those things, even friends and family and churches, from one church to the other, because one pastor's a lunatic, and so my family had to leave and find a new place. And thankfully, the Lord has brought me to a place in God that is a place where I can experience true restoration. Met some great mentors as we were on the road screening our film, Restored Me. Oh man, awesome men of God. Some bishops and some great individual pastors and some great overall both men and women of God that I still keep in contact. I don't dare begin to list them all, because if I do, I'll overlook someone on these podcasts, and please forgive me for not listing you. But you know, if you're a friend of mine, if you're a mentor of mine, if you're someone that I reach out to, that reaches out to me, that sows into my life and whose life I sow into, please know how much I love you. And also, if you're a person out there that I don't reach out to, that I don't spend any time talking to, Please believe that I do that largely because it's safer for me and my mentality. Because the Bible does speak and says, hey, be angry and sin not. So I don't want to have a sinning conversation and get involved with a negative conversation with someone that's going to cause me to sin. I can pray blessings upon you from a distance. I can be cordial to you from a distance. I can do all of the things I'm supposed to do for you from a distance. I don't need to. And that's the thing that we need to make sure as we're working through this baggage claim, as you start to unpack your bag and understand who you are as a person and what you're doing as a person and what has made you who you are and what's been slowing you down. You have to take out those things, those weights that so easily beset you, meaning those weights or those things, those opportunities, and those people that so easily keep you down and keep you confused and hold you back. So in my suitcase were people, were feelings, were relationships, were false identities of who I was not. I had to put all that stuff down. Had to pick up my suitcase and just shake it upside down to make sure I had looked inside of there, make sure I didn't have anything extra in there that didn't belong to me, any extra critters that may have come along the way. You know, sometimes you go stay at a person's house, his house is kind of nasty, they have roaches and ants and stuff around there, and you may have left your bag laying too close to that last time that ant got away, or that roach got away and got into your bag. All of a sudden your house got roaches. And please believe it, just because someone leaves extra pieces of clothing laying around, extra toys laying around, doesn't mean they have roaches in their house either. Just means that they don't have an extra enough place to put their stuff away. But let's get back to it. What's in your bag? What holds you back? I had to take relationships out. Laid that down. I had to take out the part of my identity. You know, I'm 48. Okay, so people say, oh, your wife is gone, so what are you going to do nowadays? You going to go find someone? And you should go find someone. You should just go get married again because you need someone. Great good friend of mine had given me not just one. I've had that comment given to me several times, that I have to go find someone because I need someone to take care of my kids. The reality is, and I thank all of the people who have the courage enough to actually share with me and love me enough to share with me openly, because open rebuke is much better than love in a secret. So my friends are giving me this hard feedback over the last several days and weeks and months that, hey, that you need to do better. You need to wake up and shake up and get out of this funk that you're in, this self-imposed exile that you're in, that you get this stuff out of your bag, basically. Some of the stuff that were suggested just aren't for me. I don't have to accept all of that. Just like when someone gives you feedback, you don't have to accept it all. Just when you listen to the show, when you're getting feedback and what's in your bag and what's a part of you and what's not a part of you, if it doesn't apply to you, just shake that off. Just let that pass. But when people tell you those things that are not a part of your life, you got to let them go. So stop rambling around. So what are we talking about? We're talking about on the RZNGMEN show today, we're talking about baggage claim. What's in your bag? I know that one credit card commercial. I'm not going to name them because they're not sponsoring the show, so we're not going to say, hey, what's in your wallet? So what's in your bag today? So in my bag, I was sharing, I was carrying a lot of discontent, a lot of loneliness, a lot of sadness, a lot of sorrow, a lot of feeling that I was inadequate. Being 48 years old, back on the dating scene, trying to find love again. Was I thin enough? Was I strong enough? Was I handsome enough? Did I make enough money? Did my film do well enough? Do I have enough money in my pocket to catch the attention of a beautiful young girl? Or even a beautiful old girl at this point, right? Do I have to be concerned that my kids are baggage to me? I had to take that out of my bag as well, because children are a blessing from God. And I always have to remember that all 5 of my boys are what the Lord gave me. Now, he gave it to me because we were doing some extra things that you do that you get your children to have them become part of your life. So let's make sure we're real about that as well. But Romans 8:28 is still true in all cases, that all things work together for those who love God and are called according to his purpose, right? So no matter what happens, I got 5 boys. Take it, leave it. Love it, leave it. That's what I've got. But my false identity is not that I'm not good enough. My false identity is not that my kids are not going to allow me to become married again because I've got so many at such a young age. My false identity is not that I'm not worthwhile, I'm not handsome, I'm not slim enough, I'm not smart enough. Your true identity is what God made you out to be. He made you in his image. That's in the Bible. God made us in his image. We are his workmanship. So I don't have to worry about how many kids I have. You don't have to worry about how many kids you have. You don't have to worry about what you look like, because if I was made in the image of God, which the Bible says that I am, that means that I'm good enough. If I'm good enough for God, doggone it, I'm good enough for every and anybody else. The trick, though, is that you really have to get down to that you have to believe it. I have to believe it. I can't just say it. I just can't talk on these shows for 15, 20, 30, 40 minutes at a time and just ramble on like a talking head and don't believe it. I can't write and read daily declarations every day and don't believe it. Life and death are in the power of the tongue. And if you eat the fruit of them, will determine how you're going to live. So if I'm speaking death on someone, then you know what? That person, and if that person believes that death, so that becomes a part of that false identity that you pick up, that you put in your bag, then, hey, you die death slowly. If you speak death into your own life, that you're not good enough, that you're not adequate enough, if you're not lovable, if you're not handsome enough, if you're not funny enough, if you're not enough, death. You're releasing those curses into your life that span 3 and 4 generations into your children. I mean, that means every time that I have been speaking death into my life, or I've been accepting things into my bag and carrying that around, it's putting curses on my children's children's children. I'm just going to sit there right there. Speaking death into your own life is the only way it works. Yeah, I can speak death into someone else's life, but if they choose not to believe it, it doesn't stick. Okay, so let's put that right there. Let's be real clear. So anything that anyone has said about me, says about you, that you don't agree with, that's not a part of your original design, that you can just say, no, I'm sorry, I don't accept that. Thank you very much, but no thank you. I don't want any more cake. Thank you very much. Don't need any more crow. Don't need any more humble pie. You can keep that. I'm on a crow-free diet. I'm on a negative-free diet. No more negativity in my diet. Okay? We all need to pick up a no negativity diet and lose weight. Drop the junk out of our bags right now and pick up that healthy and free diet of what the Lord is calling you to be. Good enough, great, smart, brilliant, handsome, beautiful, patient, kind, funny, more than enough, lovable. The list of positivities go on and on. And let's not get it twisted. We don't even need to get involved with what your spiritual gifting is, because that's not really what we're talking about here in terms of their true identity. Your true identity has everything to do with who you are, who you were created to be, and what you're supposed to be in Christ. So that bag that we carry around, that big fancy Coach or Gucci or, I don't know, American Tourister from back in the day, right? In case you run through the airport. I'm not going to talk about that gentleman that tried to get out on parole recently, with his running through the airports with his luggage. Most of us need to carry just a backpack. Travel light. Be free. Be able to do what the Lord called us to do. In the Bible, the Lord sent out the disciples to go out 2 by 2. He told them, don't take any extra money. Don't take a change of clothes. Just take what you got. Go out in pairs. Go to a city. Stay at the house of the person who invites you to dinner. Stay with them. And if they welcome you, then you leave a blessing upon that house, that place. You thank them. If they're gracious to you, you bless them. But if they don't welcome you and they don't treat you right, they talk bad about you, they try to treat you very poorly, then you know what? You brush the dust off your feet, off your sandals, and you keep it pushing. Nowhere in that passage did Jesus tell the disciples to be sad and disgusted and all laid out in the dirt talking about, oh, they didn't receive me. They didn't treat me well. They talked bad about me. Like we all so often do. Yeah, I'm that one. I'm that one that got mad. Oh, they didn't treat me well. I just got off the phone, I think, earlier today, complaining to somebody about, you know what they said about me? You know what they did to me? You know how they treat me? I don't have a clue what I've done to some of these people that treat me in this manner. I'm just like, I'm sure if you're listening at this, a lot of you don't have a clue what you've done to some of these people to warrant how they've been treating you. I've got a family member right now that whenever I text them, they don't reply. I've called them, they don't answer the phone. I don't have a clue what I've done to them. I'm sure you've got the same person. Now, I'm sure there's some instances out there where you've done something to somebody. I know I've done some things to some people, but it wasn't these people. Please believe it. I know if I've done you wrong, I know I've done you wrong. And I'm sure that's a very short list. Now, there's some things that people may have thought you've done to them on purpose that you have no clue what they're talking about. So if you have that situation out there that you just don't have a clue what you've done to somebody, you can't worry about that. But if you know you've done somebody wrong, you know what? You need to go fix that. You need to fix that. So for all those relationships that, where I've done somebody wrong, I apologize. Lord, I've already repented for that off the air. So I don't have to worry about just spending time on a podcast repenting for that, those sins. I've taken care of that. But if you've done something to someone, you need to go after them. You need to pray. First, you need to thank God, ask God to forgive you for what you've done. If you're doing somebody wrong, you need to ask God to forgive you. If you're being done wrong by someone, and this was hard for me, and it's still hard. I sat in class last night, and we were being reminded that if you're being done wrong by someone, you can't curse them. You got to bless them, because the blessings that you pray on someone's lives is so far greater than the curses that you would ever want to put on someone's life. So for all those, and I'm not going to name them on the air, but in my spirit, I'm naming them, because in the spiritual realm, it's a legalistic realm. It's a contract-based realm, and it mirrors the physical realm. So I know if someone's done me wrong, I've spoken their name already, and I've asked the Lord to bless them. As hard as it was, man, I tell you, brought tears to my eyes. I just made my lip quiver, and I just didn't want to do it because I was angry. But the Bible does say, be angry and sin not. So, Lord, forgive me for my sin. You know what? For those people who've done me wrong and who are currently doing me wrong, I ask the Lord to bless you. Bless all of you with peace and with prosperity and with long suffering, with good health and with healing. I bless you with wisdom and knowledge and understanding. I bless you with all of the things that the Lord would have you to have. I bless your homes to be safe. I bless your children's children to be safe and be mighty in the land. I bless you to be prosperous. I bless you with a hedge of protection around your life, so that you may be able to do the will of God. And was that so hard? Yeah, man. It wasn't so hard now because I'd already done it earlier. Didn't want to. Doing that, as well as even reciting the verse that talks about in this life you will have problems. Oh my gosh. How is that ever wonderful? Thanks, God. Just put that in the Bible for me. In this life you will have problems. I understand that. But in that same passage, it goes on to talk about how there's a blessing in all of it. So yeah, in this life, I have some problems. In this life, you have some problems. In this life, I have people that just don't like me. You have some people in your life that just don't like you. There's some people in my life that I just don't like. I'm sure I'm not the only one. But the truth is, I don't have to like anyone. But I do have to love them. I've got to love him with the same manner that you love God. Doesn't mean you have to spend your every waking moment around him. Doesn't mean you have to call him. Doesn't mean you have to text him. Doesn't mean you have to spend any holiday or any personal time around them. But I do have to love them. You have to love them. And I hope that's what you're doing. I also hope that you spend some time emptying your bag out. Go through each one of those. How many pairs of unforgiveness are you keeping folded up in your bag and carrying around? How many outfits of bitterness did you pack? How many shoes of discomfort and grief and anger and strife did you pack? Are you carrying in that bag? How many boulders of pain and grief and remorse are you carrying in that bag? I'm sure some of us have paid an extra baggage fee for carrying that bag with us for so many years. It's got to be heavy. I know mine was heavy. Not carrying that bag anymore. I carried baggage from other people. Some of us are carrying bags from, I didn't touch on that. But some of us are even carrying baggage from other people. Some of our best friends and good friends and spouses and families. Some of us are carrying other people's stuff that have been transferred to us because we're just so in love with that person. It's just so standing in the gap for a friend. But you're allowing that to transfer to you. You're allowing their issues in their life to carry over to your life. You're carrying stuff that has nothing to do with you. So now you're carrying your bag and someone else's baggage. But even when you're in the airport, I'm sure many of us have been in an airport and you've heard that speaker overhead goes off. Basically, you're supposed to report any unattended bag. The bag that someone else has you carrying or you volunteered to carry is someone else's unattended bag. Let them carry their own stuff. Let them get their own junk out of that bag. You need to only deal with the stuff that's yours and then get your bag emptied. Because a lot of these airplanes, they don't charge you a fee for carrying a bag on the airplane, but it's got to be of a restricted size. It's got to be like those disciples, and the Lord said, go, you need to go. The Lord said, stay, you need to stay. I can't go, Lord, I can't get there because I got this big old bag and won't fit through the turnstile. Can't get that bag on the airplane. It's just too heavy. I can't get that bag down the street. I can't, if you even really get down to it, some of our baggage that we're carrying, if you imagine when you get to a new place, you're visiting friends and family that you haven't seen in a while, and you want to give them a hug, you got to put that bag down. But imagine trying to hug a person carrying that big old bag in your backpack and a carry-on and the neck pillow and the cup. You wind up hurting people trying to hug them around your stuff. Then you got to take it a moment. You got to put all this stuff down before you can even put the stuff down. That stuff in that bag's not even for you to claim. Those are not parts of your identity that any of us need to claim. I encourage all of you listening to the RZNGMEN show. Again, I'm your host, Craig Carlisle, and I'm encouraging you all to check your baggage. What are you claiming? What are you carrying around in there that doesn't belong to you? What is a false identity that you've been so readily identifying with? I encourage you to pray and spend time asking the Lord to show me who I really am in you, God. Show me what's real in my life and my identity. Show me what's true. Show me what's false. Show me the things that I should believe. Help me to run to those, and then show me the things that I've been thinking is right and it's really false. We're going to pray. Lord, we thank you for this opportunity to check our bags, to put things down that we shouldn't be carrying, put things down that don't belong to us, to take things out of our bags that are not a part of our true identity, things that we really should not ever have been carrying in the first place. If as you're listening, as you're closing your eyes, if you're imagining taking off that backpack that you may be carrying that you're part of you thought of what your carry-on bag, and you put that other rolling bag down, and you just realize that, all of a sudden I feel lighter and free, and man, I can stretch now, I can bend, and I can move freely again. Lord, forgive me for the things that I thought were me that weren't. And forgive me for the things that I put on that were not a part of who I was. All of the false things that I associated with me that had nothing to do with me. Lord, I pray blessings of wisdom and knowledge for everyone out there listening who desires to know who they are in you. God, I'm excited to hear the praise reports and the testimonies for those who are able to figure out and for once and for all who they are in you. These things, God, we ask in your name, in your Son, Jesus Christ's name. Amen. Again, you've been listening to Craig Carlisle and on the RZNGMEN show. Man, thank you, Lord, for these shows and these opportunities to minister and to go. Join me next time